Hey, Julie.
Hey, Rach.
Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk a bit about nonviolent communication, right, and what it is.
NVC helped me understand what had gone wrong. So basically it helped me learn to communicate with people in ways that worked for them. So looking back to my teenage years, I can see now that even though my intentions were fantastic, I spoke in ways that upset other people that I had no idea about. So NVC taught me to understand how I impacted other people. It taught me how other people work and how I work and how I can work with that to make it work really well. So, NVC, as you know, is on the surface of things, it looks so simple. It's a simple 4-step model of how we process what's going on for us. So if we have something going on, whether it's just within me or with another person, there's these 4 steps that are observation, feelings, needs, request.
Yes.
So we just very briefly, observation is what happened, how am I feeling about it, what needs led to how I'm feeling, and I'll get back to that because that's the crucial part. And then the request, what do I want to do now that I've unpacked all that? Now, all of that's based on the concept that every single thing we do is motivated by fundamental human needs. Yeah. And the really important part is that needs are shared. So what that means is if somebody else is behaving in a way that I don't like or understand, if I can understand the needs underneath it, then I can connect with them because it's the same needs.
Yes.
I have this great story about this guy who I was so angry with. I felt like he was being really difficult. And it turned out when I unpacked our needs that my need was for belonging. I felt that he was threatening this community that I really loved. And when I made guesses about what was going on for him, I realised that it was probably also about belonging. Yeah, that doesn't always happen. It's not always the same need alive at the same time. But in this case it was. And as soon as I realised his need was for belonging, my heart went out to him. I couldn't be angry at him anymore. I felt really connected to him because I so understood that longing to belong. And I think that's a really good way to explain needs. They're not, sometimes people think needs, there's something I need, I must have. So I work out what my needs are and now I demand that other people give them to me. And it's anything but. Needs are actually, they live in us as the longings of our heart. Yeah. They are things that we inherently move towards. And so just to explain, there's a whole range of needs, everything from the basic survival needs like food, water, shelter. Then there's the interpersonal needs, so belonging and love and care and understanding and empathy and being seen. Then there's the more just me needs, so needs for learning and agency. We all have really big needs for freedom and choice.
Yes.
And there's sort of a range of other needs there as well. But they're all things that we
Do you mean like play needs, like fun and discovery and play? They'd be needs as well?
Absolutely. And I love that Robin Gonzalez, who you know well, said that needs are what is inherently human. So we have needs for play because humans are inherently playful.
Yeah.
And I love that. It brings us back to who we are, not this, who we are in the world. I'm a person who programs computers and my goal is to get a house in the suburbs.
Yeah. It sort of drops below all that ego and identity stuff to our shared humanity, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So what tips would you have for people listening if they don't want to steep themselves in this body of work known as NVC for years and years like you and I have, but if they want to walk away with some red hot tips from listening, what would you share?
I think probably the two that I can share most simply without going into detail. The first is that every single thing somebody says has an inherent question behind it, which is, do I matter? So when your partner says to you, oh, it's not fair, I do more of the dishes than you do. A, they're trying to express their pain, and unfortunately it's not in a very good way, in a way that's likely to incite pain in you, and then you'll be defensive and it's not going to work very well. So at NVC we learn to express our pain much more clearly. Instead of saying, this is what you did, we say, this is how I'm feeling and this is what I'm needing.
Yeah.
So that's my first tip. When you're wanting to express your pain to someone, start with I. This is what's going on with me. If I say, this is what's going on with you, you're not fair, you're not being nice enough, it's never going to work.
The other person gets defensive.
Exactly. Our partner in saying, you never do the dishes, is what they're wanting to hear back is, your pain matters to me. I care that that's painful for you and I want to do it differently. Yeah. So it doesn't mean we have to jump in and go, oh, I'll do the dishes. That's meeting what we call their strategy. What we want to understand is the need underneath. Yeah. So the need, in this case, is partly to know that they matter. So we learn in NVC to answer that fundamental question of, do I matter, before we answer anything else.
Yeah. Okay, I'll talk to you soon, Julie.
Great. Thanks, Rachel. Bye.